Hey, Germantown Baptist, this is Pastor Philip. Just want to come at you with a quick, encouraging word from God's Word. This is from Habakkuk 1. And this is what we read. The oracle that Habakkuk the prophet saw. O Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not hear? Or cry to you violence, and you will not save? Why do you make me see iniquity, and why do you idly look at wrong? Destruction and violence are before me, strife and contention arise. So the law is paralyzed, and justice never goes forth. For the wicked surround the righteous, so justice goes forth perverted. We can tell from these words that Habakkuk's world was pretty messed up. I guess we could say it's a lot like our own right now. And Habakkuk had a lot of questions for God. We might even say complaints. He begins, O Lord, how long shall I cry for help and you will not hear? As Habakkuk witnessed everything that was going wrong in the world, he's crying out to God for help, and in his perception, it seems like God is not doing anything about it. He goes on, Lord, violence. Look at the violence that's happening all around us. And he says, but God, you will not save. Why do you make me see iniquity, and why do you idly look at wrong? And then he goes on to say that justice was going forth perverted. Again, Habakkuk is upset about what he perceives as God ignoring injustice, the sin around him, violence, even ignoring his own cries for help. And maybe you've been there. Maybe you can resonate with Habakkuk 1, and you feel like the same emotions that Habakkuk is crying out to God in this book. You see things that are going wrong, you pray and you pray and pray, and you just wonder, is God even listening? Why hasn't God done something about it? But notice what the answer is that God gives to him in verse 5. God says to Habakkuk, look among the nations and see, wonder and be astounded. For I am doing a work in your days that you would not believe if told. See, Habakkuk may not have been able to understand what God was doing. He may have been looking for some sort of evidence that God was actually working. And he didn't see anything, and so he was going to God in complaint. But God says, hey, keep looking. Look at the nations. Look around, and you're about to be amazed. You're about to be astounded. For I'm doing a work in your days that you would not believe if told. Maybe sometimes that's what God is saying to us. Like, even if I told you what I was doing in your life right now, even if I told you what I was doing at your church, if I told you what I was doing in the world around you, you wouldn't believe me. And so that's when we're called, even when we don't hear God's voice, when we look around and we're perplexed at why so many things are going wrong, and it seems like God is idly watching everything go wrong. It's then that we're called to trust God. It's then we're called to trust the promises that we find in His Word, and to say, God, we may not know what you're doing, but you are still good and you are still trustworthy. And I will continue to persevere in prayer, and I will continue to look around and wait for you to do that wondrous work that I know that you can do. God bless.